Hi, welcome back. Domi and I just aired our season 2, episode 2 of Hometown History on Stitching Secret Messages. We are at the Redstone Glen Fiber Art Center here in Newburytown. And Domi and I thought that we would come and interview Sara, because she's our expert on really the fabric arts as they are today.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we've never had someone else on the show before.
So. Well, thank you. I feel so lucky to be the first.
We're the champagne popper.
Local girl gets to be on Hometown near you. Cool.
Yeah, this is great. So if you just want to tell our audience who you are and what you do here.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So I started Redstone Glen back in 2016, and I am a weaver by trade. I was fortunate enough to grow up in a household with a father who was a weaver, and so learned it as a really early kid, and wanted to create a really wonderful space for people to come and learn skills that you might not get to see every day, like how to use a hand loom, reintroducing folks to spinning wheels. We also offer things like dye classes and basketry, as well as some really specialized crafts like Japanese kumihimo.
Wow.
And everything in between. So we oftentimes, for really to understand what you do here, you have to visit our website and see the really big spectrum of classes that we offer. And if it's outside of my sort of realm of knowledge, we bring in guest instructors to teach those classes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
We really enjoy it.
So how do you then, you said that you teach like all these different arts that are central to York County and the history, but then also on a global scale?
Global scale. So our curriculum usually encompasses things that are historically found from ancient times in China, like how to reel silk, all the way through modern applications. Right now we're currently doing a book club where we're exploring how the invention of the jacquard loom led on to the invention of the modern day computer, and how now modern looms use computer interfaces to create complex fabrics that people years ago couldn't even imagine making without hand manipulation.
Yeah.
And you have people coming from all over the country to
all
learn
over the
here.
country. Yeah. I feel really fortunate to say that as much as I love living in the town that I grew up in, that we reach a really far spread, wide audience out there.
Right, yeah, you wouldn't think that little old Newburytown is having people from all over the country come here to learn how to weave.
Sure, and I get to share Newburytown with all of them.
Yeah.
Right. Most times when people come and visit our facilities, what they're seeing is a Maryland plate, a Virginia plate, a Delaware, and oftentimes we're picking people up from the airport, and they spend a week here sort of immersing themselves in what Newbury Township has to offer, which is quaint, beautiful atmosphere and learning a new skill.
Well, and so the article or the video that Domi and I just filmed, we were talking about the social aspects of the fiber arts. And so when we were here checking out the space about a month ago, we were walking through this room and there were women there just weaving together. Yep. And you said they didn't know each other.
Nope.
And they just all came in and just formed these bonds that then last for years.
Yeah, it does. I find that when they're in a space where they're very much like-minded in the type of crafts that they like to create, all of those other external things of what their home lives are like really are not relative, and they form friendships and spending such a concentrated amount of time and sharing common interests that it becomes a lasting relationship. And oftentimes we'll hear stories of people returning just so they can repeat that experience
like
together.
meet people.
Yeah, yeah.
So would you say that's like therapeutic in a way?
Oh, totally. In fact, one of the classes that we offer is meditation and weaving, where we look at using something like a tool for kinetic meditation, where the object is not so much the byproduct, but using repetitive motion and mindlessness to get to a different sort of like mental end result. Yeah. So you can look at it from all different ends.
As far as demographics go, are you having more women come to the classes, more men?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Historically, it was interesting listening to your last broadcast because we were talking about women in fiber arts, but here historically it was a man's job.
Okay.
But post World War II, it really had this resurgence of crafts in all types of industries, including weaving. And it was a really tricky time because we're talking right past the post-industrial revolution where people didn't have to weave at home anymore, but now they're doing it for joy or pleasure or saving money as well.
Right. I remember I learned how to knit, not only because I wanted to be self-sufficient and learn a skill, but also because I wanted an excuse to binge watch TV. It was like Dexter season 3. Sure. I just want to watch, but I want to be doing something.
I have 10 more rows of this repeat, so the show will get me through.
My scarf went like this. Like it was not good.
Yeah, that's okay. No, but we find that, with these communities, no matter where they're coming from, we all sort of share the same sort of desires and a need to make make things,
Yeah.
have them have sort of an aesthetic sort of appeal to them.
Mm-hmm.
And in at least our community with fiber arts, they tend to have a utilitarian attachment to the objects that they're making, unlike a painting. It's something tangible they can hold and use in their everyday lives.
Yeah, and
that's
gifts.
it's a different way to make art.
And I remember you saying when we met with you the last time that weaving comes easier to people who are more
sort of left-brained.
Math,
Totally.
music, those sorts of things, numbers.
Yes, we see a lot of folks from the medical field as well as the sciences, because with weaving there's a certain sequential order of events in which you need to follow in order to get to the end result. There's math involved and planning, and then the execution comes into place, unlike a blank canvas that you have to fill with something beautiful.
Yeah, because we talked about the quilts, and especially in York County, they were literally called crazy quilts.
Sure. Use it up, fill the space, and nothing is left behind. Yeah,
right. Are there any crazy woven?
Oh, totally, absolutely. Yeah. So within the weaving umbrella, I would say that there are people that resonate on both ends of the spectrum, of those that really enjoy a white warp and playing around with all the different combinations of pattern and structure. And other folks, they really like to keep the variables simple. They like to play with color and texture. And there's something in between for everybody.
Oh,
yeah.
That's so amazing.
Yeah, we really enjoy it.
Yeah. And you learned from your dad then?
I did learn from my dad, yeah. I went on to maintain sort of loving crafts, and as I went on to college, I got a fine arts degree as well as a teaching degree.
Yeah.
I never ended up going full-time into teaching little ones, but I found that I really love the engagement of working with adults that are also teachers, and then they go on and pass that on in their classrooms.
I wonder if people, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you're struggling with like an ADHD, I wonder if you came in and you started to work with your hands and that kind of repetitive motion, if it helps with that.
Sure, I think it depends on each person. For some people, they want really instantaneous gratification, and weaving might not be the best choice because you can't just leave it on the loom and it finishes itself. But there are different types of weaving that might engage somebody whose brain needs quick repetitive changes. They might choose a different structure or a different form of weaving versus someone else who wants something a little bit more complex, that they're making decisions along the way.
So while you were out with your dad,
you
found this artifact.
We're gonna call it our history mystery.
Oh yes, I had to share this with you guys. This was actually obtained down at the York County Antique Show, which is at the York County Fairgrounds. But a number of years ago, my dad and I were down there talking with an antique dealer, and I see his eyes just start bulging. And he's trying to like maintain his composure, not to give it away to the dealer.
And if you know your dad, he's very expressive.
And so he's like itching, and I'm thinking, what is he seeing? And he pulls this down, and it's labeled wooden tool, right? And for most people,
if anyone knows what this is, comment.
Yeah,
give us your guesses, because we guessed and we had no idea. So I want to see how smart the York Countyans.
Yeah, so this is a really interesting tool. It's what we call a Heddle Jig. And what this would have been done is used on one of those big barn frame looms that you might see at historic sites that basically take up a room.
Right.
But this would have been designed so that the weaver could create something called a heddle for themselves, which is this cotton string that you see here. Well, the jig allowed the weaver to take a piece of string and fold it down on the jig, knot it, push it down, knot it, push it down. And then what he's got is hundreds of uniformly created heddles that will all lift the threads at the same rate. So it really, and what I love about this tool is if you use it, you know all the different features. Like, he would have wrapped his yarn around here and cut through it with his knife. So every single string would have been the same size thread. So it's a jig inside of a jig for another very specific purpose.
Yes. And you can see that was used.
Oh yeah, it was used hard. Yeah, but I love that the fact that it was like hand pinned down here at the bottom. It has all these nice. Somebody probably went out to their barn and said, "This will work." And
now is this a tool that is now obsolete in the weaving world?
Yeah, it is. So now we have commercially produced heddles that we just call up and say, "I need 100 or 500," and they're all and they tend to be made out of things like polyester because they're hard wearing.
Right.
The color won't come off on your warp, things like that.
So.
We sort of take everything and we improve upon it through history, but it's nice to see those echoes still there. And it's still useful.
So we're nearing the end of our time.
Yeah.
If there is one misconception about the weaving arts, what would you want our viewers to walk away with knowing?
So I think that when we have discussions about weaving, it's with the understanding that this is still a very active thing going on. And if you look around your communities and you ask someone, most likely you will find a weaver within your community. And most of those folks, it's not so much out of obligation to clothe themselves nowadays. It's keeping a connection to those traditions, but it's also having that the ability to make and create for yourself and feel
the independence. I can vibe with that.
That independence, and also just having sort of an outlet for your creativity that has a bit more control to it. Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you so much.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
You're an amazing first guest.
Yeah.
Oh,
And Sarah was helping us with our eCam, our new system, if anybody noticed beforehand.
Yeah,
so
she
special
was
shout out.
guest, IT tech,
moral support, asking
do.
if we want tea. And cool.
All right, good. Congratulations, girls. Keep doing a good job.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
See you guys.